As editors, part of our job is to mold and shape the performance of actors and actresses to highlight their strengths and hide their weaknesses. In the last module, we looked at some of the essential dialogue editing skills you'll need to have in your toolkit. Now, we'll be using those skills, along with our own artistic vision and good taste, to sculpt and shape the actor's performance in a scene. Our primary focus here should be editing the drama in a way that helps the actors deliver a performance to most fully accomplish the scene's objective. Let's dig in. When you're cutting a dialogue scene, the first thing you need to figure out is whose scene is it and what's the objective of the scene? Which beats, plot points, and character details should the scene be developing? Now, let's watch the scene that we structured out earlier to refresh our memories.
Cinder?
Hi, Max.
Thank you so much for helping me out with that paper. I think I'm really starting to get the hang of this French thing now. So what was the word for orange?
Orange?
That's right. Could you spell that for me? Oh, damn. Before I forget, I'm having this party tonight.
A party? Sounds great.
Yeah, and I was wondering, if you're not too busy, could you possibly help me out with the final as well? I'm so busy, I don't think I'll have time to do both.
Oh.
Alright, so that's our starting point. Now, let's answer some important questions about the scene. Alright, so whose scene is it? Which character should get the most attention and focus in the cut? And whose eyes is the audience looking through? Cinder. Not only is she our protagonist, but she's also the character in the scene that goes through the most emotional change and development, from infatuation, to excitement, to disappointment. Alright, so you're cutting a scene, and you know which character should be the focus. So what does that mean editorially? How does that change the way you should actually cut the dialogue and approach the scene as a whole? Let's explore how we can shift our scene's focus from one character to another, in this case, from Max to Cinder. We've already talked a bit about how to accomplish a shift in character focus using the split edit, but now it's time to dig a little bit deeper. Let's begin. To start, we'll be using reaction shots to create viewer empathy here. By showing the viewer exactly how your primary character is feeling, you'll help establish a stronger connection between them and your audience. On a similar note, we'll be showing all the changes in emotion to give the scene the full dramatic range of performance and demonstrate the transformation of the character. Yes, changes of emotion are basically the same as reactions, but I think it's important to distinguish between them, because some changes of emotion can be quite subtle. We might not necessarily peg them as traditional dramatic reaction shots. However, they can still be incredibly important to the meaning and the subtext of the scene. Finally, we're going to want to work to simply include more coverage of the character who's meant to be in focus. By simply giving them more screen time, they'll have a greater presence, and will naturally start to take over the scene. Since the shots on our timeline are currently color-coded by character for this lesson, we can quickly see how much coverage there is of Max in the blue clips compared to Cinder in the pink. You can see that most of the lines are actually spoken by Max. This scene is a great example of where the character doing most of the talking isn't actually supposed to be the star. We've already used some split edits in order to overlap Cinder's shots with Max's lines a bit, giving her some more time on camera. But we can see that we weren't able to get that much more coverage on Cinder with our current shot arrangement. We'll have to do a little more work to get this working correctly. Ultimately, we're going to need to replace a couple shots of Max completely with coverage of Cinder listening. That way, we'll be on the back of his head while he speaks a few lines, allowing us to focus on Cinder's face, giving her character a greater presence in the scene, while simultaneously showing her reactions and changes in emotion. In this lesson, we talked about the importance of cutting for your scene objective, and determining which character should be in focus. Through whose eyes are we experiencing the scene? Then we looked at how to shift that focus from one actor to another, specifically by manipulating reaction shots, visible emotions, and screen time. Coming up in the next lesson, we're going to use all these techniques and more to really start shaping and sculpting the performance in the scene. All right, I'll see you in a bit.